Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Nisi Lexi. In today's episode, live chat interview, we have with us the lovely Miss Newboy Gapwell. She is the one and only. She's an author, fashion model, as well as a very important person that we have actually in our previous chat when we were doing the self-made entrepreneurs. She's one of our feature for that specific segment, and I'm so glad to have her back again to be discussing more things and how she has been and the stuff that she's working on currently. She released her very own book, which is called The Fire Within. But before we dive in, for our new viewers that don't know about you, I just wanted to take a moment to basically reintroduce yourself to them.
No, thank you so much for having me back. We go way back, the beginning of things. So it's always good to keep in touch and just kind of seeing you grow has been very beautiful. You have become your own boss lady, doing a whole bunch of amazing thing, and just like I'm sure everybody on your wall or anyone who's following you is really inspired. Like you said, I am a Southeast Canadian. I do the modeling, I do the writing, and I have so many other different projects. But mainly this year, I have just been focusing on school, and so I think that should be enough.
Amazing. Yeah. I know she said enough, but that's not the enough work she does. She actually does a lot of work. Apart from that, how did you and when did you start becoming a social entrepreneur? Like, when was that whole journey started?
I think for a very long time, I didn't even know that to be in a social entrepreneur was even a thing. I know that just to be an entrepreneur was just a thing on its own. Mm-hmm. So I always knew, like, okay, to be for longevity purposes, it's wise to have several businesses. So I always knew as a kid that, like, I always wanted to have some sort of a business one day. Mm-hmm. But I always knew that it wasn't just going to be for profit. I really wanted to have like a social angle. So a very long time, I wasn't really sure that to be a social entrepreneur was the thing. So once, I think about around 2014, I realized it was a term, and I realized it described me, because what I want my businesses to do is I want them to meet a social need. Mm-hmm. And I want to provide different products and services to population that are not usually catered to. And so I think that's how I kind of learned about it.
Okay, and what are currently some of the services or things that you cater to within your enterprise?
So for now, I'm kind of just developing things behind the scenes, and so we will go public in 2021.
Awesome! Can't wait for it.
Can't wait, me too. Yeah, so I think I just kind of there's different things that I focus on. So I think I tend to go to my strength, and so like the writing, production, and so things like documentaries and books, more of those you would expect next year. Mm-hmm. I'm into things like personal development and community development. So I would have services that are focused on that, and then when I'm ready to go public, people can come to me for different things, and we can see where we can go from there. So I will definitely be providing services that would help community development and their capacity building. Mm-hmm. And I will provide services that I really want to work with young people, especially from K to 12, development, mental health, all those fun stuff. So for now, I'm just, focusing on university and working behind the scenes with those things I just mentioned. And then when I go public, then I can go into detail about exactly what I'm going to be offering. But this is just like a preview.
Fantastic. Those are actually great things for us to be looking forward to, what you will produce and some of the services that kind of are socially related and people that can come in and benefit from. Thank you for that. I know you do a lot of things with regards to women empowering, and I see your posts constantly on Facebook. I'm like, yes, woman, yes.
Yeah.
So what does empowerment means to you personally?
For me, empowerment is really like, I'm a believer that your external reality reflects your internal world. Mm-hmm. So whatever's going on inside of you is what's going to reflect it around your surrounding. We're not separate from what happens outside of us. We have an influence. In fact, most of the time we initiate, whether it be the chaos or the blessing externally. Mm-hmm. And so for me, when I think about empowerment in general, it's about empowering the individual to see the power that they have within themselves, to kind of create the narratives and the actions that they can, utilize to kind of have the kind of life they want. Because you don't want to separate the person from the ability to manifest the kind of life they want. You want to show them that they have that power, they have that ability, by just we all have that ability to go within, but I guess what I do is I just remind you, like, hey, you have that ability, you have that superpower. Just take the time to go within, and usually once we tap into that power, we tend to know what direction to go because we're listening to our own natural, our own true north in a way, our own compass. We are like the natural one when we take the time to just like chill, and then we just realize that okay, the power's within. I'm not really looking for others to validate me, but by just being still, you find that people tend to find their direction a lot quicker than if they're, busy.
That's true. That's true. So, in terms of you being an author and you being also a poet, do a lot of poetry and a fashion model. So, what compels you to go into that direction? So, what's the catching thing that kind of like told you like, oh my God, I can actually be a writer? What was that moment like? Like, what is it?
I think for me, when I was in school, I would get positive feedback from my teachers about my writings, especially my essays and my thoughts and how I would speak. And so I would say education had a huge role to play in that because, obviously I did good in the writing department and I was always being told how good I was and things like that. And I had a blog for a few years that no longer is here because I've moved into like a website now, but I had a blog for a while and I would talk about different topics and I would do a lot of poetry. And so I think for me, being like someone who loves history and who loves writing, it was just kind of natural for me to go that way because that's kind of like the world I already kind of live in.
Yeah.
And so it was just like a natural. Then for fashion, I'm a creative person in general. Like I love creativity. I love colors, especially bright neon colors. For me, it's like in the industry, it was like everything I wanted was happening all at once. The colors, the runways, the lights. And fashion has a lot of writing involved, by the way, because you have to script everything from A to Z. Yeah, so fashion is really like fashion to me is like a combination of all the beautiful things that I love about life. So I think that's how I because with fashion there's no age limit.
Yeah.
In my own head there's no limitation with fashion. You can take it any direction you want to take it. And that level of freedom and creativity is what I love about the industry because like you're free to think and behave how you want to behave as long as they respect others clearly. But it's just that type of freedom, that type of creativity. It's such an outlet that if it's used properly, it can really enrich your life and the lives of others.
Yeah. So actually, me and you go way back with the fashion thing. I remember I witnessed you walking for the 2013 African Fashion Week when you came to Toronto. So, what would you say one of your best moments or memorable moments as a fashion model ever since? Yeah.
Wow, like I think because I started the whole thing when I was about 16, so I think I've had so many cool moments that I wouldn't just say one, but I think the process from now. Okay, so the process I've gone through under the past decade in this industry has been very beautiful. It has given me many blessings. It has given me so many talents and so many not giving me talent, but it has enriched my current talents. It has helped me connect with really amazing people, and it has unleashed hidden gifts that I didn't think I had. And so I think the process is what I would say is my best part because I'm like, whoa, like the woman that I became out of the experience within the industry, the good and the bad, I realized, okay, I've it's just like the whole production to the stage, like everything I learned. I would say fashion is like free business school. That's how I look at it. It is free business school.
I agree. Totally, 100%.
Because like the lesson that you will learn in the industry is like you can't match that with like an actual. Obviously, you get a business education if you can. You just can't because you learn hands on like everything, and it's just like I think that production aspect of things is what makes me really really grateful and helpful because I know that when time comes when I start producing my own stuff in that way, like I've been in the industry, I won't be like a new person. I'd be like, okay, I've been here before, I know how this goes. So in a way it has trained me in terms of work ethic and character development and so many things that could sustain you throughout life. I have learned in the industry.
That's true. That I actually agree with you 100% on that note because it's starting as a model myself. I find a lot of times looking back, it was where I actually personally start my personal development and where I kind of gained my confidence and start everything that I'm doing today is because of the people that I met through the fashion industry and how I was able to learn from them firsthand and kind of like how to run a business or how to run a show and things that then continue. So I agree with you on that part 100%. So what would you say? Because obviously diving into a new industry is always hard, regardless whether it's writing, whether it's being a blogger or social entrepreneur. There's always like a gap when you were starting your career. And how were you able to navigate through it and actually achieve the successes you have today?
I think one of the misperception a lot of people have about the industry is how quick or how slow things happen. I think when everybody enters the industry, we have a timeline of when we're supposed to have this and how is it going to feel. Like we have these expectations that we expect to kind of miraculously happen in the fashion world.
Mm-hmm.
And in reality, it doesn't work like that. Like it's really like I guess what's going to make someone successful is a combination of luck, hard work,
Yeah.
and how prepared you are, and what's hot in season in that time, and
Mm-hmm.
what's needed. So I think sometimes, especially in our community, we think if you just try on dark skin, voila, you're good to go. No, no, it's not that simple.
Yeah.
It's about, are you what the industry need right now? So I think with fashion, what I learned is almost like, you know how there's a stock exchange or like forex and things like that,
Yeah.
where like the dollar go up and down, or the yuan or the whatever.
It's like
That's
one
how.
minute you're hot, 1 minute you're not.
Yeah, so that's how it is with the industry, with the fashion industry. It's like maybe in 2020, this type of skin tone, this type of hair texture, and this type of, these issues are in right now. In 2021, we will want totally something different.
Yeah.
But we tend to think, okay, if it worked in 2020, it ought to work in 2021, not knowing you have to evolve with the times. So I think with fashion, I learned to be current. I
Mm-hmm.
learned to be relevant in a way that it makes in the context that you're in the current times. You don't want to think about 1950 matters in like 2020. Like you have to be here. You have to have, and I think sometimes fashion can be used
Mm-hmm.
as a platform to have the difficult conversations. Because right now, for example, the Black Lives Matter movement,
Yeah.
shirts, pants, all the things that are in the industry, they're being used to communicate, and just seeing how clothes can actually communicate social issues. So fashion designs are being forced to become ethical about where
Yeah.
they were stuff from and who purchased and things like that. And so I think it yeah, it gives you a whole lot to work with, and you have to be on top of things.
Yeah, it definitely is, especially with the whole 2020 and the Black Lives Matter movement. The fashion industry, a lot of designers or CEO, they become very like social conscious about that. So they try to be a part of it and a part of raising the awareness for the anti-racism and whatnot. And I do agree with you that as a business owner, you are have to stay current, but also you have to be um, understanding that there's social issue that's happening and also take part in supporting those. And I feel like there's some companies or brand that are kind of like supporting that as well. As for example, Nike was actually a big one like that I noticed for sure.
Mhm.
So how would you say does the social media lately like play a big part in supporting your business, or do you think it's not at the moment like it's playing a role?
I love social media because I would say it has supported my growth, it has supported my journey,
Mm-hmm.
and it has supported my small business. And I know once I go public with everything next year, things are gonna take off because of social media. So I think we have to remember that it's a huge platform. There's so many people on there.
Mm-hmm.
Based on what you present and based on how you market and based on how you communicate your brand and what service you provide is what's going to attract the people that are in need with
Mm-hmm.
your content. Like the way I look at myself is, okay, this is what I do, this is the values I stand by, and this is what I support. Anyone who's on my wall or anyone who follows what I do, they're there because something I do meets a need in their life.
Oh,
So I feel like social media gives us that power to be aligned with people and vision that makes sense for our lives as well.
Speaking of power and the whole social media voices, so what advice do you have for our young viewers that are watching that wanted to follow your footsteps, or let's say they want to be an author or a social entrepreneur? So, what would you say is some of the advice that you wanted to give them as a take-home message?
I would say love the process.
Mhm.
It could be painful. You could have times when you're confused, but you have to commit to things and follow through, no matter how painful they are, or when you're when you're very unsure. And also, when you're ready, like the people that you need in your journey will kind of show up. So never worry about who's not there right now or who's doubting. Once it's done, the very same people who doubted will become believers as a result of you sticking to your vision. And also know that nothing is impossible, but you have to like write down, have a blueprint of what you're trying to do, and have short-term goals, long-term goals, and have daily steps that will go towards your goal. Because you don't want to be a dreamer without actually doing something. So I think sometimes we think, okay, we think we want a certain thing, but then the work ethic do not match what we claim we want.
Mm-hmm.
I would say be very, 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 very hardworking, no matter how you feel. Like put in the work, and then think about like 20 years worth of work. Like don't even think, okay, I'm gonna work really hard in 2020, and then 2025, I'm gonna get all of this. No, do the work and let the success make the noise on its own. Like don't ever slack and think, okay, I made this much progress, I'm doing great. Just understand, like you have to have that mindset of like in 20 years, I can reap all the seeds I've sown for 20 years. Like my mind, I don't think about like, oh, this year and that. I think about decades. I think in decades. Like this is 2020. I'm thinking about where am I going to be in 10 years, and where am I going to be in 10 years will be dependent on my monthly, my daily, my weekly, my hourly goals.
Yeah.
I think that gives you grace and a leeway to change and develop in the way that you need to develop. When you give yourself too much constraint, like, oh, I must have this in 6 months, oh, I must have this by the end of the year, then I feel like you do yourself a disservice because you're a human being, you're developing, you're evolving. What I want now at 26 wasn't the same when I was 16.
Mm-hmm. Big facts.
So everything's like give yourself room to develop. And once I finish my degree next year, I do plan on working with young people who want to become authors. Right, there's a process to that. And for anyone who wants to become an author, I would say please like read lots of books. Like make it part of your life that you are a reader. You don't want to just write and produce when you do not read. It makes sense. How can you cross-reference? How can you defend your thoughts if you don't know the thoughts of other people, or if you don't know what has been done before? So think of yourself as a thought leader, and a thought leader doesn't just think and speak for the sake of it. You read, you're well informed, you know your history, you know your contemporary history, you can somewhat predict the future based on the work you've done. So I would just say do the work. You don't want to be mediocre, and let time be your best friend. Like let time do the speaking for you. Let's not try to become famous in 2 years or within whatever. Like just be so good at what you do and be so consistent that it will speak for itself and people will seek you out because of how good you are.
That's true. That's a big one. It's like let your work speak for itself. That's a huge message to take away home. So, what I know you mentioned that a lot of if somebody wanted to become an author, they have to read a lot and they kind of have to do their homework and things like that. So, what are other support or resources available for those who are thinking about it? Like, do you have any on top of your head or resources that they can go about it?
I think with the authorship, I think you just have to be like not just ebooks alone, like hardcover books, and like take notes and just immerse yourself. And what I want young people to understand is, like for me, I love history. Any historical figure, any country, as long as you have history, we're gonna be good. But not everybody's into my industry. Maybe you love romance. Maybe you love gaming. Maybe you love cooking and baking. Like you don't have to be an author in what someone else has authored. Like you can actually be an author that's tailored to your to your craft or to your or the thing that you believe in. So if someone, for example, wants to like have a cookbook, okay, study what other cookbooks look like, study how your cookbook can be better, and how can you monetize based on your cookbook. Do you want to give cooking classes? Do you want to go to culinary school? Like, you want to think about, okay, this is the central idea that I have. How do I monetize it in several ways that it makes my life better, and I can actually give my customers better services. So it's not saying that you want to be so good at what you do and just focus on that. Do not worry about what other people are doing. If you can excel at your gift, everything else will be added to you, and you can always expand based on that one center. Because I look at Martha Stewart. Didn't she start with like cooking or something?
Yeah.
Beds. Martha has like bedding being sold at Costco, and I'm like, wow. So we went from the kitchen to selling bedding. So you become like an enterprise. You start with one thing, and you do so well at it, and you succeed at it, and then from there on, you have the luxury to expand to different areas that you otherwise wouldn't have.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. So I know also recently you were in doing a conference for the comforting anti-black racism. So we want to talk a little bit about what sort of discussions you guys had, and then also where can people go in and catch up with these discussion that you guys provided.
That's a really good question. I think the website is called the City Symposium. I think it's based in Ontario. So I think I think you should get the website and like post it so people.
I will post it in a link bro after. Yeah.
Okay, that's perfect. You can do that. So we're talking about like anti-blackness and its global impact, and also its impact here in Canada, because sometimes we think we live in a utopia, nothing happens, but a lot is happening. And so I think what I kind of said with my piece is that anti-blackness is a global epidemic, like it's everywhere, and it's due to and there are historical reasons for that. It's not because we're innately inferior. It's not because we're like innately subhuman, or we're something is wrong with us, but it's the fact that we lost plenty of wars, our territories got conquered, our wealth is being used by others to enrich themselves, and our state of regression was systemic. It happened over, I mean, I can't say years, like thousands and thousands and thousands. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Like it's just a timeline. Like it's so vast. Sometimes we look at our current state of regression and we say, oh, it's just how things always has been. No, it has not. I gave an example of how, like, what is now called Egypt, they fought for 10,000 years to defend their border against their neighbors. And once they got conquered, the rest of the continent went along with it. So I think what I kind of did is I kind of just showed that anti-blackness is a process, it's a systemic reality. It's not just out of thin air. People are not just hating black skin because they think black people are evil. It's a form of justification for what has been done to us. You have to make me subhuman. You have to make me an other, so you don't feel guilty, nor do you feel accountable for what you've done to me if I'm not of you. So it's a way to create separation between us and others, so they're not accounted.
Yeah.
The war crimes and all types of crimes they've committed towards us. So it's a way to escape responsibility and accountability. So it's a process. So I guess I want Black people to know that you are not the problem. You're being used to represent a problem, so you are not give what you are owed.
And how you can distance that from the reality of it too, right? Awesome.
Yes.
I'm going to make sure for those who wanted to catch up with that discussions in the description below, so you guys will all find that link later. And before we depart, is there any other negative knowledge that you wanted to leave with us this evening?
I think I would just say, like with all of us, just taking the time to know who we are. Like we are like the universe is literally within you. Like I think sometimes when we talk, it just sounds like la la talk. Like, oh my God, this esoteric talk, this cosmo talk, and it's like that's not what it's about. Like really, everything is inside of you. Everything, like all of us are a manifestation of the galaxy, the universe, the earth itself. Like we are part of nature. Like when we die, we decay. We don't. Only our bones remain. Like we literally decay. If we decay into the earth, what does that say about us? We are of this planet, we are of these elements. So if we are, then what's preventing us from realizing or manifesting the type of lives that we want if we are of this planet? If we are, if so, it's just saying like, okay, this color of your skin, whatever it is that's going on with you, like you are the soil. Like no matter if you go to the UK or Australia or the United States of America, every soil that is on the ground, that is you, that's part of you. The air we breathe is part of the air we're breathing. Like dinosaurs were breathing the same oxygen. Like we didn't get a new supply. It just keeps regenerating itself. So imagine that it's almost like be so glad and be so privileged that you came as a human being. You could have been a dandelion seed, just in the wind right now. Like you could have been made as a plankton. You could have been made as a tree, but life decided it was going to bring you into the human form. So respect that and honor that, and like live from a place of worthiness. Live from a place of like you're already full. You don't need anything from life. Like like when we do things, when we do things in regards to entrepreneurship, what we're really doing is we're just giving life back what it gave to us. We're saying like, hey, I'm so happy, I'm so grateful, I'm my cup over is flowing. Let me give back to society. Let me give back to the world what you've given me. It's almost we're saying to life, you gave me these gifts, you gave me these talents. Let me exploit them in a very healthy way where other people can benefit and where I can benefit, because there's so much abundance. So when you sit down and you're stingy, you don't want to do anything for anybody, you don't want to start anything, you don't want to utilize your gifts. It's almost like you're saying to life, I'm ungrateful.
Okay.
So by just taking that time to know ourselves, we're saying to life, thank you for giving me this opportunity to be human. Let me be the best human that I possibly can.
Amen to that. Definitely. So I know you're also on YouTube, and in YouTube you have a very particular discussion. So do you want to share with our viewer what exactly some of the stuff that you discuss on YouTube and where they can find you?
Yeah, so my name on YouTube it's the same name I have on Facebook and throughout social media. So it's just Nyaboy Gabriel. And so right now on YouTube, I'm focusing on East African history. In particular, currently right now I'm focusing on ancient Egyptian history, and then it connects to Sudanese history eventually. So I just been focusing on that, and I've been making videos in Toknat, which is newer, and English. So just giving that bilingual angle. So, but I just want young people and us to join the conversation, because if you don't know where you're coming from, you won't know where you're going. And we have such amazing, beautiful history with our pyramids, with our intellect, with our spirituality. We have so much we offer the world so much that we literally transform the continent. We literally transform our neighbors.
Yeah.
So why don't we continue the same legacy in the 21st century? So I think that's kind of my thought form at this point. So like, we did it before, we can do it again. And so it's almost like I want to have like an African Renaissance. That's what this is about. I want that to happen. And so I'm like, okay, well, let me do my little part in, realizing that, because I wanted to go back to the glory, the wealth, the power, the happiness, the security. And that's not going to happen by accident. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking the time to show you how good we used to have it, and how our current state of regression is not our final destination, but it's just part of the process to getting everything we want back.
Amazing work. I actually listened to a few of the videos that you have in there. They were quite interesting. And for me, I don't know about so much about the history itself, but it was kind of like enlightening just to kind of have the knowledge of all the stuff that you share with us. So continue to sharing those content in the YouTube. And also, I wanted to get our viewers to follow you in other social networks. So where are you at? Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, name it all here.
So I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Yeah, so those 5 things, I think. Yeah, I'm already there. So I think I'll give you the links, and then you can kind of, post, and if they want to follow, that'll be a really great thing for me. And I'm just here to learn with our people. Like I'm just here to say, hey, like let's just evolve together. Like this is one life. Let's enjoy it. Let's expand, and let's just have a good time.
Amazing. So, I will make sure to add those link in the description below so that people can follow you on your social media and also get to learn about all the stuff that you do, as well as the social entrepreneurs world and the civics that you're involved in. And I know you've been a very important advocate for a lot of our women empowering voices. So that's an amazing thing. Continue on doing that. And thank you so much for being a part of our live chat today. I know you were a guest before, and it's very enlightening to have you back here. And is there any other things that you currently wanted to shout out or for us to stay tuned, kind of get back with you?
I would just say to you, thank you so much for always supporting a fellow sister. I support everything you do, and I can't wait to go for coffee when I come to the Toronto area. You know, when that happens.
Definitely.
Definitely. I would love to see you again. We could sit down and have, just talk next to each other. And also, I will definitely let you guys know when the work comes up next year. And I appreciate the support in advance. And thank you. Continue the great work. This is huge. Like, sometimes we don't know the impact. We don't know who's watching. We don't know, like, we're literally becoming the ancestors that our ancestors need us to be in this 21st century. We have to go digital. We have to automate. We have to use the technology available to communicate these things, because after we are gone on this earth, this will be your legacy. This is what you're gonna leave behind. Like, I was here. I did it. I did it for you. This will be the blueprint for those that are unborn and those who are literally toddlers right now. By the time they become of age, they'll find Auntie Nisi doing her thing, like, oh, who did that. So I would just say continue the great work.
Thank you, Nyuwe, so much. I definitely agree. This is gonna be our legacy we're leaving behind, so that people that are coming after us can actually see the work that we have done and pave the way and things like that. Because I know there is greater people that worked their concept before us, and then now we're just taking the baton and continue on doing our part. And also thank you for doing your part in enlightening our people, and also keep being the voice and advocate for all our women. And keep posting on Facebook. I actually like them all the time. I was like, yes, I just keep on encouraging that. It's a very enlightening topic sometimes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And until next time, we will love to have you back. This is like your second home, so feel free to come back again. And have a great weekend. And I hope you guys enjoy this discussion. And I will be posting all her description for her YouTube channel, her Instagram page, and as well as the anti-Black racism discussion that she had last week on the conference. I'll also send the link in the description below. So until next time, guys, I hope you guys all have a great weekend and take care.
Thank you.